Hey, what's going on, you guys? Listen, this is going to be, check this out. This is going to be a very kind of personal video for me. It really hits home because watching the education things on the news, I know you probably watch it, you see it in the news feed, all the laws and the changes and things that have taken place regarding children's education. SPED, special education in particular, that's what I want to talk about. Having been in a resource class, they call it special education SPED now, but they have you all combined. But having been in a resource class, having been in resource throughout majority of my school years, I know and understand firsthand the ramifications of inadequate training, inadequate education, and lack of creativity. And it's not on the teacher's part, because when I was in school, this was in the 90s, regular teachers were different than your resource student teachers. You know, your resource teacher was the one that was real creative, real artsy, things like that, because we used to be called alternative learning, because we had to be taught a different way. And your regular students, you could tell because they were kind of structured. You know, they had their little things that stuck out about them, but they never really stepped outside of the norm. And that was okay, because the students that they taught needed that. They needed that structure. They needed that, I guess, sense of normality or something like that. They needed that. So that's how they learned. That's how they thrived. I, on the other hand, was a different type of learner. So I didn't learn that way. So my teacher, of course, would use different ways to show us the same thing, to solve the same problem, or to learn how to read something differently, especially if you have a child that's sitting there and their mind is wandering, or they may be dyslexic, or they may have ADHD. You know, so you're telling them something and their mind is way over here. And so you have to learn and know how to reel them back in, or figure out where they're going, and go there with them sometimes. But that's what my resource teacher used to do. And they used to have us separated. You know, we had your back class, your resource student, your resource class, and you had your actual special education class. Special education classes were for people who were your autism kids, your disabled kid, your kids that have cerebral palsy. Those different types of kids were in those classes, because of course they required special attention. You see what I'm saying? And then you had your resource students. Your resource students were the people who just didn't learn as fast, or maybe they had a cognitive issue and they just couldn't catch on quick enough. So those were like your resource students, where I think it was like a learning disability. Like it was something that had to do with developmental, I'm trying to get the words right, but it had to do with learning, not necessarily behavioral or cognitive or developmental issues like that. Like basically your cerebral palsy, or the kids that kind of, you know, shook back, and those type of kids. So they required special attention. And they often had about two people in the class as well. You had the teacher and your teacher's assistant. And then you had your back class. Your bad class was for the kids who basically wasn't nothing really wrong with them. They were just bad. They had behavioral issues. You know what I mean? Those were your back class. So anybody that was in back class, that was across this way, on this side was back and this side was resource. So anybody that you know was on this side, they was bad. So their teacher was in there. They had a Morgan Freeman from the movie Lean on Me teacher. You know what I mean? With the bullhorn. That's what they had. And of course you had your in-school suspension and SAG and all those different type of things. But because those kids, wasn't really wrong with those kids. They were smart and everything else. They could pass a test without even looking at it, without even studying. They were just bad. So they was put into them that had behavioral issues. And those were the times that I learned a lot. Well, when I got into middle school, it wasn't as set up like that. It was more so we had regular classes and we had some resource classes. And it was rough. It was really rough because we were in class with everybody. Behavioral, special needs, resource, regular. And so we often got left behind. But it wasn't because the lack of the teachers. It was the fact of the matter that I don't think people really truly understood how much time and effort it takes for a resource student to learn something. And you need to be quite repetitive when learning things. It's that repetitiveness that allows you to be able to learn. And oftentimes, many of us just went through school. We just showed up to class, and some of us learned that whether or not you did your work or not, you were still going to pass because they were not going to fail you. So they just graduated. Many of us was probably on Social Security, SSI. We got Medicaid. And many of us that I know now are still kind of in the same situation. They are living with other people who takes advantage of them, who takes their check, who's over their food stamps, who's over their insurance, and they're okay because they moved out of their parents' house. Not that their parents died or passed on, they just moved on out. And because the parent got tired, you grown now. But this grown adult is still a resource student at heart. And they're still looking for someone to take care of them because no one really just took the time to really give them the things that they need. And we had a life skills class and everything like that. And or if they do go to school, they go to school for maybe something mediocre, which is nothing wrong with that, but just so they can be able to keep their insurance, just so they can be able to keep their disability. And I'm not going to lie, that was the trajectory of my life. I was on SSI. That was the trajectory of my life. That easily could have been me. And quiet as it's kept, I don't know what the future holds. I hope to pray to God no, but that still could, that could still easily be me. Because there are certain things that happen in life that can throw you back. And just because you are up now doesn't mean that you're always going to be up. That's why it's important that you don't take anything for granted. And it's important that you are appreciative of what you have. And it's important that you be careful with how you treat people while you're up. Because that will determine whether or not you're going to stay up and how hard you're going to fall. Because we all will fall. The proud will fall. And those say, well, I'm going to do what I got to do. Yeah, you're going to do what you got to do until doing what you got to do to catches up with you. And then doing what you got to do what you got to do to get you out. See what I'm saying? Just because I don't indulge in that type of stuff, don't mean I don't know. People say I'm hood but professional. Just because I don't talk like the hood and I don't do all those different type of things, that don't mean I didn't grow up in the hood. That don't mean I don't know how to hustle. That don't mean I don't know how to swindle. That don't mean I don't know how to talk fast. That don't mean I don't know how to game. You know what I mean? That doesn't mean that I don't know. I just choose not to. And I just choose to take what I've learned and apply it in a more healthier, legal way. Self-harming way. And selfless way where I'm not harming others as well, So, but that's a whole nother story. But I just wanted to get up on here and talk about that because having been there, I do understand and I do know, and just the kind of the way they're trying to do things now is just not working. And the only people that are going to suffer in the long run are those kids. No one's else going to suffer. It's just going to be those kids. And no one's going to care. Then they're going to become grown adults that get a Social Security check. You know them. They get a check. And people going to think that they lazy. They don't want to do this. They don't want to do that. They don't want to. And it has nothing to do with them not wanting to do anything. It has everything to do with the education system, family system, just failing them. Because they're not doing it the way that regular society or most people do it. And that's what happens when you have standardized testing. That's what happens when you have a structure and you have to fit a mold. We are individuals. We are not designed to all fit a mold. We are not designed to all be the same. We're not designed to all excel in math. We're not designed to all excel in reading. We're not designed to do those things, but we're trying to get people to be robots. We're trying to get people to be the same, and we're not the same. The people that are going to be looking at this video don't look like me, and we're not the same. But yet you want me to think like you. You want to think like me. You want me to think like them. You want me to act like them. You want me to respond. You want me to have the same type of education. But yet and still you're taking away my creativity. And most importantly, you're taking away my individuality. Therefore, people are not going to be able to do that. People are going to fail because we are not designed to do that. But anyways. Parents, just do what you can to really make sure that you get your child the extra help that they need, the tutoring that they need. Even if you have to kind of try to do your best, you got to try to learn it, just to try to be able to help them. Like I was always told, reading, math, spelling, and English. If you know how to do that, if you know how to add and subtract and read, make sure that you are still comprehension. You know what I mean? You teach them the basics, because the way that this stuff is set up now, it's not designed for you to fail. I'll take that back. It's not designed for you to win. It's designed for you to fail. It's designed for you to always be dependent upon. It's not designed for you to be a leader. It's not designed for you to be a business owner. It's not designed for you to think, to be creative. It is designed for you to take orders and help others, build others up. That's what it's designed to do. That's what it's designed to do, to keep you permanently down. And people say, "Oh, it ain't got nothing to do with race." I hope you all. I wish that people would just get that out of your head. It has nothing to do with race. It has everything to do with warm bodies. You need warm bodies in a seat to do to do this job. I can't do everything by myself. And it takes this to do this here. You need warm bodies. And you need people who are going to be okay with being a warm body. And that's okay in itself, but look at how you treat people. You want to have warm bodies. You want to have somebody to help you continue to build up your dream, but yet you treat them like trash. You don't want to pay them livable wages. You don't want to give them the things that they need. And then you are buddy with these people who take advantage of the necessities that they need. So then you put them on strain, and then you wonder why they just don't produce. Then you wonder why they leave. Then you wonder why they go live with other people. And then you wonder why they don't want to be at your job, because you're not treating them right. And you feel like, well, if I just have, well, they have to have this or they have to have that. When will you understand that most people who are already struggling, who are already living check to check, don't mind being homeless? They don't mind going living in the hood. They don't mind going to go and live with somebody when pushed against the wall. You see what I'm saying? That's the thing. When people have been through struggles, when people who have struggled and been through some things and have been without, they not caring about, they don't think like you think. You see what I'm saying? So they're not going to be bothered by the fact that, oh, I got to go live with somebody. That's because that's what you do. You are deathly afraid of being broke. You are deathly afraid of living like the way you are forcing other people to live. But mark my word, God is not asleep. God is not asleep. And I guarantee you, you will have your day. And God knows you. He knows your every single intricate detail. And he knows exactly how to get you. And he knows exactly how to break you, because he created you. It may not affect you if you go through it, but it may affect you if your child goes through it, if your daughter goes through it. And make no mistake, you will be allowed to see it. You will be allowed to see it. You cannot keep doing God's people wrong. You cannot keep doing people wrong in general. That is a karmic law. You can do unto others if you have them do unto you. You cannot continue to do people wrong and expect good to come to you. That's a universal law. It don't work that way. You will have your day. But I don't know who that's for. That just kind of came out. But anyways, you guys, I'm going to go ahead and end this video. Bye.